Okay, hi everyone. Right now we're going to make mayonnaise. I want to make hoagies for dinner tonight, and I don't have any mayo, but I always make my own, so I don't mind doing that. I do want to say that this recipe for mayonnaise is coming out of this Back to the Basics cookbook that I got on the TikTok shop. I do like this recipe for the mayonnaise. It's a very good recipe. It's on page 42. So you want to first get you an egg, and you want to set it out so that it comes up to room temperature. So we're going to get that cracked in there. There we go. So once you have your egg in there, you're going to need 1 teaspoon of lemon juice. I just use this. You can use fresh squeeze. The recipe does say this is optional, but I like using it, so that's what I'm doing. And you need 2 teaspoons of white wine vinegar. This is what I use. So got that in there. And missed a sink there. You need 1 tablespoon of Dijon mustard. This is what I use. Use whatever you have. So it's 1 tablespoon. Now this bad boy's getting empty. Might have to add that to my grocery list. There we go. Let me get my little spatula in here. Okay. And then you will need a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. So there's that. And I just use this Morton sea salt. Use that for everything. And then you'll need olive oil. Now for your olive oil, you want to make sure it's a light tasting olive oil. You don't want one of the real heavy olive oils. Use, whatever you have, or whatever your preference is, or whatever you can get in your area. I just use this, but I get the extra light tasting. Okay, I get the extra light tasting. It's my preference. And you need 1 cup of that. So let's get that in there. And then I just like to let it sit there for a second and settle down before I mix it up. I will say I found that if I use avocado oil, because you can use that as well, but I find if I use avocado oil with this recipe, I need to use 3/4 of a cup instead of a whole cup. It seems like it's too runny when you use a whole cup. But that's just my preference. And then you're going to take your immersion blender and blend it away. And there you go. You have mayo. I do mine in this bowl because I find that my blender doesn't fit in my mason jar. So I'll just put this in a mason jar and then just store it in the refrigerator. I don't like to keep it any more than a couple of weeks. So, I mean, you could, if you use liquid egg, you could, I guess, cut this in half. But I usually just keep it for a couple of weeks, and then if there's anything left, I actually trash it. Or I try to make sure I use stuff to use it up. I prefer using things up than trashing it. But just want to make sure I reference again that this recipe came back from the basics, or Back to the Basics cookbook.